It's time for our final race from Knockhill. It's round 24 of the British Touring Car Championship, and to talk us through it, let's rejoin Tim and Ben.
The car's already out there on their formation lap, and the car park's still full here at Knockhill. Great to see the fans, enthusiastic as ever, sticking around for the final race of the day and see what the latest drama might be in the battle to win the 2010 British Touring Car Championship. Well, up front we've got Tom Onslow Cole and Matt Jackson on the front row of the grid, so it's Ford Focus versus Airwaves BMW. Then Stephen Kane in another Airwaves car, and Tom Chilton in the other Team Aon machine. Jason Plato lines up in 5th place in the Chevrolet. Gordon Shedden, who was so fast earlier, he's on the 3rd row of the grid. Behind him, the man who won the 2nd race of the day, Matt Neal in the Honda. Then it's Andrew Jordan. Alex McDowell and Paul O'Neill are together on row 5. James Nash and Andy Neate on row number 6. Behind them we've got John George and Tom Boardman, Jeff Smith and Sean Hollenby, Rob Collard, who's had an absolutely miserable weekend so far, and David Pinkney. So cars are continuing round on their 2nd formation lap. Still some dust down on the road, courtesy of the fluid we saw down in the Porsche race. But Tom Onslow Cole leading them around and just keeping the pace nice and steady by the looks of things. Let's see if we can have a quick word with him. Tom, this is Ben in the commentary box. So what are the tactics right now leading into the start of this race?
I think crucially here is going to be the start, isn't it? We've got the 2 BMWs, the Airways BMWs behind us there, and for us, we just need to get into the into turn 1 first, and then see where we're at with the car from there.
Okay, well, have a good race, Tom. Let's see what happens, and he seems to be taking it fairly steady. We did hear a little bit of radio communication earlier, Tim, that implied that he might not go flat out on the formation lap.
Well, the teams know that the BMWs take more time to get the heat in their tyres, so if they can slow them up on these 2 formation laps, they can't get as much heat in the tyres. So Tom was told by his engineer not too quick, Tom, on these 2 out laps, so the BMs are struggling to get temperature in their tyres, which is just sensible, tactical racing.
Yep, absolutely, good thinking. So everybody working their brains as well as the brawn of sheer power and grip, which is what they're trying to work with here at Knockhill. That's the climb up the hill that they'll be dealing with flat out in a moment or two. And in comes Stephen Kane. There's a problem for Stephen Kane and his Airwaves BMW drama already then. The other car is still up there of Matt Jackson on the front row of the grid, but what has happened to Stephen Kane?
Well, the car was wobbling about like there was a suspension problem or a drive shaft or prop shaft problem, but very unlikely that car will be going into battle. But so Motorbase down to 1 car with Jackson.
Oh, that is bitterly disappointing. They're having a good look around the rear suspension there, trying to find out if they can find the problem, but oh, that's just bitterly disappointing for Stephen Kane. He drove so well earlier on today, was out of luck in race 2, being knocked back a few places, and now it doesn't look like he's going to even get into this 3rd race. They think it might be the drive shaft. This is hard on drive shafts, this circuit, but the rest of them are ready to go, and it's going to be Tom Onslow Cole who will try and make the break at the start. Lights out, away we go, and the Ford is off the line pretty well, but Matt Jackson's going with him with the BMW. Behind them we've got Jason Plato pushing hard as well to come through, but I think Plato and Chilton are going side by side. No, it's Plato who's got up into 3rd place. Good start from the championship leader. The leader's been well, trying to fight to Matt Jackson, really looking for a way past Tom Onslow Cole.
Yeah, Matt Jackson not looking like his tyres are too cold, are they? But he couldn't. Oh, they've come together on the 1st lap.
And Chilton's off behind as well. Jackson's through the gravel. Onslow Cole has survived. Chilton went off in the background. Plato's up to 2nd. Shedden's in 3rd, and Andrew Jordan's in 4th.
Well, that's worked out for Plato, who also got a good start, didn't get involved in whatever shenanigans were going on, so it's looking good for Plato.
Yeah, it really is looking good for Plato. Tom Onslow Cole breaks into the hairpin, holds Plato behind him for the moment. Shedden, then Jordan, and is that James Nash? I think it is, right behind, or is it Smith? We'll check that. It might be Smith. We'll have a look as they come across the line. It is Onslow Cole leading narrowly from Plato. No, it is Nash up there, so James Nash in 5th place in the black Vauxhall, so he's managed to find his way through the mayhem. Good effort that by James Nash, who's had a pretty tough time recently.
Yeah, well, it all went on down here going through Butchers. I don't know if there was contact that initiated. Certainly no coolant or dust down there to have started that, so it must have been contact. Well, great for Plato and Tom Onslow Cole, who got away at the front.
Stephen Kane has rejoined the race, but at the very back, of course, in his Airways BMW, as leading the race, it is Tom Onslow-Cole. Jason Plato right behind him. Now, Tom Onslow-Cole and Plato have history at Knockhill. Let's just take a look at this first, Tim.
Well, this is Jackson trying to get down the inside of Onslow-Cole. Doesn't give him room. They go into the chicane. Jackson too quickly, goes straight on, and Onslow-Cole just holds it. That was a case of 2 into 1, just won't go.
Yeah, that was, look at it again, another angle here.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say who should have backed off, really, there, isn't it?
Yeah, it was an optimistic move by Jackson, perhaps, but it could have worked in certain circumstances. But let's take a look at what's going on here. Onslow-Cole leading, Plato in second position, and then Gordon Shedden in third. So the focus in front of the Chevrolet. Look at the... Oh, Shedden's lost it! Shedden's lost it! Oh, he's got sideways so many times this weekend and held it, but not this time.
Well, Shedden's been taking more of that right-hand side of the chicane than anyone else all weekend, but that time he took so much that when the car landed, it clipped the inside of the curb and it just started it bouncing. And hopefully we'll get a replay and you'll see, but that was just a little bit too much there, Gordon.
Well, that's brought the Pertec car of Jordan into third, but Plato challenging for the lead. Plato is going to try and get up the inside of the Focus, but he can't. The Focus just has enough legs to pull in front of the Chevrolet once again. And as they come down into the first corner, it's still Onslow-Cole in the Team Aon car.
Plato's got 27 kilos on. It's probably just making the difference. Now this is on board with Shed. Look how much he takes to the right. And when the car lands, it literally just bounces into an oversteer.
Well, he's got away with lots of slides this weekend. His commitment has been completely 100% all weekend. Take another look at it there. Yeah,
the left-hand wheels actually land on the inside of the right-hand curbing. That's how much he took.
Yeah, well, he has given it his all this weekend, Gordon Shedden, and if you take that many risks, I suppose occasionally it will bite you. On board with Jason Plato as he chases second place. Behind him, he's now got Andrew Jordan and James Nash, who's got 2 youngsters behind who really want to sort of show what they're capable of. He's got a relative youngster still in front of him in Tom Onslow-Cole, who's desperate to keep his championship hopes alive. It's going to be an interesting remainder of the race, and there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, I should think, will be fairly patient here. He's not getting too much pressure from behind. He can really let this race come to him. Onslow-Cole obviously dropped from second to fourth in the championship after the last race, so he's going to be wanting to get some points back, but no real threat directly to Plato just at the moment.
That's right. So then you've got the 2 Vauxhalls of Jordan and Nash, and then
Jackson with a huge slide there, absolutely huge slide.
He managed somehow to gather it together. Matt Jackson, who's running in 6th place, he's under pressure from Paul O'Neill, who was very quick last time around, although his time was beaten by Tom Chilton, who's all the way back in 16th place. So Chilton flying. Here comes Paul O'Neill, desperate to try and move up the order himself. Behind him he's got Alex McDowell in the second Silver Line Chevrolet. Has O'Neill got a chance? He's trying to get up the inside of the BMW, and he may well have done it.
I tell you what, Paul O'Neill does that move beautifully, because it's not easy to out-drag a rear-wheel drive BMW off a hairpin.
No, that's right. The trusty Integra has done it again, and Paul O'Neill hurls it into the first corner ahead of the Airways car. Alex McDowell trying to follow through as well, and behind them is Rob Collard, who's up into 9th, having started at the very back. So he picked his way through the dramas of the first lap this time, unlike race 2 where he got called out by Dave Pinkney.
Yeah, Jackson a bit more cautious through the chicane that time after his moment last time around. Has just given that little bit of a gap to Paul O'Neill, who, if you watch the action of that car through the first corner, he's got opposite lock on, he's got his foot on the throttle, he's absolutely wringing the neck of that Integra.
It's wonderful to watch, isn't it? And Paul O'Neill's just getting better and better as we watch him in touring cars, I'm sure. He's loving it. And he can really race hard nowadays as well. He's trying to close up the gap to Matt Neal up ahead of him. That's 5th place Matt Neal's holding on to. There is a bit of a gap between them though, so that's going to take some time. And still Matt Jackson defending from Alex McDowell, who's getting in the mix here with some pretty feisty racers. 2 BMWs there of Jackson ahead of him and Collard behind him.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Paul O'Neill is that he used to feel so privileged to be in touring cars that he never really wanted to fight with people. He was just enjoying it. But now he knows he's got a good car, he believes in his own ability, and he'll fight with anybody.
Yeah, no, it's great to watch, love it. And I just hope that they can keep it going for the remaining meetings this season. He deserves to be out there, but no, that Tech Speed team are really putting everything they have into trying to get him out, and it's not easy. Let's take a look at Rob Collard in the WSR BMW on the outside, trying to get past Alex McDowell. He'll try and cut back here, use that rear-wheel drive advantage if he can.
Well, I think he's definitely got a little bit of advantage, but the Chevy is quick up the straight, as is the BM. It's a straight drag race, and I think McNeil just about got the edge.
Yep, the Chevy wins that particular battle up the hill. Collard's left-hand door mirror is flapping around in the wind. Don't think Matt Jackson's got one either. They lot of door mirrors. You want the franchise for door mirrors here this weekend, I tell you.
Plenty of souvenirs for the enthusiastic Scottish fans to take home. They've really turned out in force to support this meeting, and mind you, it's the first time we've never had wets on the cars that I can remember up here, so not surprised.
Harsh, I think. But there is Rob Collard now in 9th place. John George is running 10th in the background, by the way. That's a good effort. He's in the points. Andy Neat is currently 11th. Tom Borman 12th. Pinckney 13th. And Chilton working his way up has got to 14th. Back to the leaders. Tom Onslow Cole still ahead of Jason Plato. The gap 4/10 of a second.
Yeah, Plato just sitting there. He's just letting this race run a few more laps, maybe hoping the Ford will lose a bit of tyre performance towards the end. Certainly we know how good Jason's car is when he set fastest lap at Snetterton, I think lap 14 in a hot day. We know how good the Chevy is on his tyres, and the arena team with the Fords have worked very hard actually to make that car better, and it is better on its tyres, but you'd still have to think second half of the race Plato's going to be stronger.
Yep, you would. Ever since that sort of test in the summer break just before Snetterton. Oh, off gone Pinckney. That could cause a safety car, depending if he gets stuck there. He might be able to fire back up again, but that could make a change here, Tim.
Yeah, this is down at... he's gone... Oh, had contact with Smith, is it?
Yeah, it is Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were battling for 13th place. Oh dear, that could have well, there's no safety car at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. The leaders across the line. Tom Onslow Cole still ahead of Jason Plato in second position. They might well have been warned to be a little cautious down here because of the debris that's around. Pinckney's still in the car. It's the second time today, isn't it, that he's had to...
Yeah, he's got a lot of fans there on the side of the road, I should think, because he's spent half the day there, unfortunately, down at Scotsman Corner.
Really miserable time for him. But these top two, yeah, safety car has been scrambled, so that means these guys are all going to have to back off, and it'll close up the field. Also, Cole just being told over the radio that the safety car is on track. So that'll certainly make things different when we get to a restart.
Yeah. Safety car board's out on the right by the yellow flag being waved, so there'll be no overtaking now into the hairpin. Got to slow down and pick up the safety car and all get in line. So perhaps not what Onslow, maybe it will help Onslow Cole to just cool his tyres down a little bit. Although it does, and it'll maybe bring some pressure onto the back of Jason Plato, at least just temporarily.
Yes, definitely. So one little pause, as you say, maybe to take advantage of. David Pinckney's body language says it all really. He's pretty fed up. I think he is rather thinking he should have stayed at home this weekend. It hasn't worked out for him at all, has it?
Well, he's had a lovely time up here in the north with his beautiful wife Jay, and I'm sure he's enjoyed the trip, if not the racing.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah, had a good time anyway. And as you say, he's got a few more fans down there who've seen a lot more of him this weekend. But up front, it's Tom Onslow Cole who's leading them around. While they're behind safety car, we're going to take a break. Rejoin us in a moment. Welcome back to Knockhill. We're halfway through the third British Touring Car race of the day. We're under safety car conditions after an incident for Dave Pinckney. His car has been towed out of a place of danger. Unfortunately, I think the tow car has now got stuck in the mud.
I tell you, those marshals are going to have to be pretty strong to move that. Look, it's got itself really buried.
Yeah, four-wheel drive, and it's pretty unusual to get one of those stuck. Shows that it must have been raining quite a lot before we got here, Tim.
I was going to say, that section down there at Leslie's and Scotsman and Butchers, it's always soaking wet. They should know that.
Well, they got the car to the inside, but we've still got our safety car. Let's just remind you what's going on in this race. Tom Onslow Cole has been leading since the start. He was on pole position, got a good start, and Jason Plato was the main sort of winner of the start, because he started on row 3, managed to force his way up pretty quickly into second place, and Andrew Jordan then gained when we saw a lot of cars getting into trouble. Matt Jackson, that's right, Matt Jackson went off, didn't he? It was Matt who was initially looking second, had a bit of contact going up through the chicane, and that's when Plato took second place, and all sorts of other action went on behind.
Yeah, I mean, the big losers really have been the motorbase team, because with two BMWs on second and third, you know, with no ballast on, they would have been expected to be really quick, but obviously Kane had a broken drive shaft, and Jackson threw it off on the first flying lap.
Yeah, so it could have gone a bit better. Let's see if we can have a quick word with Tom. Tom, this is Ben in the commentary box. It's a bit of a long safety car period. Are you staying awake?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely still with you guys. I don't know what's going on. I've heard that they're stuck in the gravel down there. So yeah, a bit longer than we'd hoped, but just got to keep the temperatures up and then back to play.
Yeah, understand that. I mean, I suppose in a way this might have helped you because it's keeping the tyres not too hot. It must have been quite hard keeping Jason behind you.
Yeah, for sure. Jason seems to have quite a lot of pace in his car there. Hopefully we've got enough to get us to the end. I think it's feeling fairly good. I've taken a bit of a knock. I've taken a bit of a knock from the start with Jackson there. So just trying to drive around that as best as possible at the moment.
Okay, thanks Tom. And as you could see, and you may have heard on the radio there, that he was being told that the safety car lights are out. So he's now getting ready for the restart, Tim.
Yeah, I bet they haven't moved that safety strap, the recovery vehicle though.
No, but it's on a fairly safe place on the inside, so hopefully they won't need it to pull anybody else out of the way. Yeah. So Tom Onslow Cole is now controlling the pace. He's got Jason Plato behind him. Andrew Jordan next up in the Pertec car, the black Vauxhall behind is James Nash, and then it's Paul O'Neill behind Matt Neal, and Paul O'Neill's the one who's gained out of all this. Let's see what happens on the restart then. The safety car pulls in, Tom Onslow Cole gives it full gas up the hill, and the LPG powered car stays in front for the moment. Jason Plato in second place. Watch for any action behind, particularly from Matt Neal trying to attack that black Vauxhall, and behind him Paul O'Neill, and then the rest of them all making their way through. Matt Jackson running in seventh, and there the Golf just being squeezed out on the run to the first corner.
Yeah, and Gordon Shedden obviously has been able to catch up to the back of this group and will be making as rapid progress through as he can. But very even restart, no hijinks from Tom. He just got on the throttle coming out the hairpin. Everybody,
Collard, was that Collard and Chilton in trouble, or was that Andy Neat? No, it was Andy Neat, yeah, because it was Chilton coming through. That's at 11th place they were battling over. What's happened to McDowell there? He's just been passed by Collard.
Yep, that was Collard passing McDowell, who got wide on Clark on the restart. Maybe a little bit of cold tyres there.
So out of the hairpin they come, so it's all still going on. Collard is still in there, he's gained a place, in fact, over McDowell. You're on board with Jason Plato, who's following Tom Onslow Cole across the line. We're on to lap 17 out of 27, 10 to go then, and down into the first corner of the set curves they come. Onslow Cole so far doing enough to stay ahead. Andrew Jordan's tucked in behind Plato, little lock up there on the left rear, that's unusual.
Yeah, the car is weighted obviously to the right as it goes down the hill, so it actually locked the left rear to start with, then as he started to turn in silver brakes, it locked the right rear, only the fraction though, it doesn't hurt the car or the tyres.
Yeah, good example of weight transfer in a racing car there, wasn't it? Up through Clark they come. Plato looking very solid here in second, and definitely a danger as this race progresses to race leader Tom Onslow Cole. I was beginning to mention earlier, they've had history here in the past, Onslow Cole and Plato. Well, there's been contact down at this corner. There, Plato, you never know, might feel at some point in this race it's payback time, who knows. Yeah, Alex McDowell wide there.
Yeah, and John George has passed him, I think, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't know what's wrong with Alex, our pole sitter from the start of the day, as Matt Neal is attacking James Nash.
Yeah, he had a little look, didn't he? And Paul O'Neill's right behind him, so is Matt Jackson. So James Nash really having to focus here on staying ahead of former double champion Matt Neal, back with the leaders as they come over the rise. They've really made a bit of a break, these two, this time, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. I mean, it's just broken up a little bit. I mean, Plato, I think, could sniff this win, because last time round we saw Onslow Cole running deep into the radio hairpin, and Royal Radio hairpin just coming up now, and Plato can sniff an opportunity.
Yeah, he definitely can. Let's see what it's like this time. No worries there for Onslow Cole. But the Chevy looks so good over the curve on the inside and doesn't lose much on the drag. I know that LPG car's strong out of the hairpin, but there's not a huge amount of difference. Then the Vauxhall, the turbocharged Vauxhall of Andrew Jordan, and then the normally aspirated Vauxhall of James Nash under pressure from Matt Neal. Oh my goodness, I thought James Nash was going to end up again going off there after contact, as he did earlier today with Matt Jackson.
Yeah, looked very, very close, didn't it? But Matt was just gave him enough room, but there's a big roadblock right behind him. Look, headed by Paul O'Neill, who we know is quick, but Paul and Matt, very good friends. We've said it many times before, and I mean, Paul is not going to do anything silly on Matt.
How many times have they ended up racing against?
Yeah.
Oh, John George went through the gravel. I think he might have just lost ninth place. back to Alex McDowell. In fact, he's lost more than 9. He lost several places. That's a big shame because he was heading for some points there, which would have been really valuable. And look at this change in lead, possibly. Plato's on the inside and Tom Onslow Cole. He's had a great run out of the hairpin. Can Onslow Cole cut back across? Oh, he can.
Yeah, don't forget Onslow Cole's got 0 ballast and Plato's got 27 kilos. That is the difference, I think. It's not just that the Ford is much more powerful than the Chevy, because the Chevy's quick and the Ford's been pegged back in the last race.
Yeah, that's right. So the ballast certainly making a difference. Jason Plato thought he might have had a chance there, but Tom Onslow Cole was just able to get back across in front of him. Up into Clark's. Again, you can see the lovely balance on this Chevrolet that allows Plato to just close up again into the quick right-hander. But now down to the hairpin, what can he do?
Well, I mean, he's losing out a little bit on the run between Clark and the hairpin. He's catching up on the brakes now, but it may be the only way he's going to get through is with a little tap, because even if he gets a better exit there, he hasn't got the power now to get up alongside. But it may be a repeat of what he did on Kane earlier in the race, and just push him a little bit wide.
Nash has gone backwards. Nash has been passed by Matt Neal, by Paul O'Neill and Matt Jackson. So I don't know what happened to James Nash there, but he's lost a bunch of places. He's still in there. He's now ahead of Collard and McDowell, but he's all the way down in 7th place, Tim.
Yeah, let's have a look where we're looking further back. This is into Clark. We've been the exit. Nash gone wide on the exit of the chicane, and Neal's gone through there, and so has Paul O'Neill. Yeah. Mistake of the chicane.
Well, he's not the first, and he won't probably be the last. Well, let's see. We've still got 7 laps to go in this race, and here comes Jason Plato on the attack once again. He goes to the outside. Great view from on board the race leader, Tom Onslow Cole, as Plato will try and cut back up the inside. It's real delicate stuff there, but it's still not quite enough. Look at the comparison as they climb up the hill. Again, the Ford just edge away there, doesn't it?
Just edges away, but you know, I think Jason is either looking at an aggressive move, as we said before, or a mistake from Tom. But you know, Tom has become a very accomplished touring car driver. He knows how to win races, and that's crucial.
It is, yeah. No, he's been very impressive this season, no doubt about it, Tom Onslow Cole. And so far, so good. And he seems so relaxed about it too, which is, there's a lovely manner about him. Seems to be very much in his comfort zone. Let's just watch though as he tries to keep the championship leader behind him. Through Clark's, kicks up the dust there more.
Yeah, he needs to make sure he doesn't make a mistake at that hairpin, so that he can utilise his straight line speed down to the hairpin, because that's one of the best overtaking places.
Plato trying to go really deep this time. Onslow Cole knew he was in trouble there and really held it tight. Oh, and Plato might get the overlap this time. And that went back to the previous corner at Clark's. Now it's a drag race again. Now this time Plato might just stay alongside enough to get the turn into the first corner. Side by side, and Onslow Cole has to give up. Plato fights his way through, gets sideways. Onslow Cole tries to come back. He can't. And Plato, I think, has done it.
Just done enough, hasn't he? Plato knew he had to be brave on the brakes there to keep Onslow Cole out, but it just threw him wide through the first corner, and he so nearly lost it. But that was a good overtake, set up down at the hairpin.
Brilliant stuff by Plato, biding his time, working it lap after lap. No contact made. That was a classy pass by Jason Plato. And look, he has got that pace now through the corners to be able to edge away from Tom Onslow Cole, who's now coming under a bit of pressure from Andrew Jordan behind, and then it's Matt Neal and Paul O'Neill.
Yeah, Jason will be able to drive his exact perfect line now. We know that he's quicker over the lap. It was just a case of forcing Tom to get a bad exit from that hairpin on one lap when he could get alongside, and he did just that.
Yeah, no, it's so much about this track is about rhythm and momentum, and Tom Onslow Cole sort of lost the momentum even at the previous corner, didn't he, at Clark's? Still not disappearing into the distance here, Plato, as you can see, that the Ford fills the camera looking back from Plato's car, but still holding on to 2nd place, and this is proving, oh, Jordan's gone very wide. Can he get it back on? Yes, he can, but he's lost 1, he's lost 2 places, I think. O'Neill leads on him, as he has every right to do. Jordan gets pushed out wide again, and he loses another place.
Well, it was his own fault, wasn't it? He ran wide and lost 3 places. They were always going to go down the inside of him there, and you know, you just can't hang out on the outside of Clark curves and expect not in the touring car race not to end up in the gravel.
Absolutely, and Paul O'Neill after that has found himself under pressure from Matt Jackson. 3 laps to go. Plato leads, Onslow Cole in 2nd, Matt Neal in 3rd place. Paul O'Neill is now in 4th, Gordon Shedden still trying to fight his way back up the order. He's into 10th place now after that spin he had at the chicane himself earlier in the race. As we ride back on board with Shedden, he's chasing Tom Chilton here.
Yeah, he's still taking massive amounts of curb, isn't he? Through the first corner, he was taking a huge round. Let's see how much he takes at the chicane, whether he's learned his lesson or not. Yeah, a little bit.
He's still mega, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still fantastic to watch through there.
He is so committed, and well, lovely thing. Oh, Jordan trying to get back past Collard, is he? Yes. So, Collard trying to get past him, rather. Oh, squeeze. Careful here, guys. Collard's got the inner line, and McDowell's going to try and follow through, and I think Jordan's lost 2 more places.
It's always the way. It goes wrong once, and it goes wrong all the time. But in front of them, look, side by side, you've got Jackson and O'Neill.
Jackson's got in front, in fact. Jackson has taken 4th place, so he's got past Paul O'Neill. The Airwaves cars gained 1. McDowell there, still in front of Andrew Jordan, who was trying to come back at him, but had the outside line behind them. Still is Chilton and Shedden in the points. Nash is still running, but he's down in 11th. John George is 12th. Andy Neat 13th. And Jeff Smith is in 14th. Oh, Jackson that was.
How many people have we seen off of that chicane? I mean, it is a feature of this Knockhill circuit, and the drivers love racing it because there's nowhere else like it. But as I said earlier, you can never drive 2 laps the same.
And the more cars that go off, the more gravel gets kicked up, then the more likely you are when you land to hit some of it, I suppose. Oh, yeah. Jackson wide. Jackson sliding, and Paul O'Neill says, thanks, guys, I'm through here.
Now, that was a result of Jackson going wide himself, getting dirt on his tyres, and just not having the grip at the next corner.
On to the final lap, and Jason Plato, who won here in the Chevrolet Lassetti last year from pole in race 1, and then saw teammate Matt Jackson take victory in race 3, has worked it beautifully in this race. He started on the 3rd row of the grid, but Plato has stayed out of trouble. He's kept his nose clean in this one, that's for sure. He lined up Onslow Cole. I'll tell you what, Onslow Cole's under a bit of pressure from Matt Neal on this last lap. Really being pushed by the Honda.
Yeah, the Ford is going to be quick, and he'll defend on the inside. Matt will go to the outside. It'll have to be a really good comeback to make it before the finish line if he does it, because the finish line is quite early on.
It's going to be tight for 2nd place. Tom Onslow Cole holding Matt Neal behind for the moment, trying to get on the power. But to come through to take his 58th career win, it is Jason Plato in the Chevrolet who wins at Knockhill. His 8th win at Knockhill. He has a remarkable record here. Onslow Cole finishes 2nd. Matt Neal is 3rd. Paul O'Neill takes 4th ahead of Jackson, Collard, McDowell in 7th, Jordan in 8th. Then the final points finishers, Shedden and Chilton.
Well, a great race. Plato, the canny old Sager, really came through there when we thought he would, and took the win, took the points. He knows he's got a good car on all circuits, and he's maximised it today, as others have perhaps not got their potential. Matt Neal getting a good 3rd place at the end of it, and he's had a good haul of points, but Plato can click this weekend off as another weekend just a step closer to that championship.
A crucial weekend, as you say, Tim, and not only has he protected and, if anything, built up his championship lead, he's also just 2 away from the Andy Rousey record. Look at Paul O'Neill, though, punching the air in delight. He finished a fine 4th, and after various ups and downs this weekend, that's a great achievement.
Yeah, really good drive through the field, aggressive, controlled, really good. Let's hope he's with us at the next race.
Remember, he finished 10th in race 2, so to come through from 10th on the grid in that one, to come through to 4th, that's a good effort indeed. But Onslow Cole also, he's got to keep his head high, because he's driven superbly in that Ford Focus. He held on to the lead for a long time. Ultimately, the Chevy was the quicker car, and in a good fight, it got past. But Onslow Cole has been very impressively, consistently scoring points.
Yeah, he's done a really good season's campaign, hasn't he? Really good.
Yeah, so there we go then, the 3rd and final race of the day here at Knockhill, entertaining us all the way to the checkered flag. Jason Plato winning from Tom Onslow Cole and Matt Neal, with Paul O'Neill a fine 4th from Matt Jackson and Rob Collard, who finally gets some points for the first time in 2 years at Knockhill, I think. Alex McDowell in 7th, Andrew Jordan in 8th, Gordon Shedden finished 9th, and Tom Chilton was 10th. Outside the points, James Nash, after a good run in the early stages of that race. John George was next up, then Andy Neat and Jeff Smith, who's enjoyed his first ever weekend in the British Touring Cars. Sean Hollenby was behind him. Tom Borman had problems. We saw Dave Pickney out, and Stephen Kane never made the start. In terms of points, well, it is that man Jason Plato on top. As you can see, 20 points his advantage over Matt Neal in 2nd place, Tom Onslow Cole keeping Team Aon in the hunt. Gordon Shedden is 4th. Tom Chilton still in 5th place, but a bit further back in terms of points. Stephen Kane and Matt Jackson showing comparability, if you like, between the two airwaves.